Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening all around the world, dear viewers. This is Mudassar Majeed, all around the world, dear viewers. This is Mudassar Majeed, ESL expert and media professional from Pakistan. A very warm welcome to all of you who are watching this live session. So, I would like to tell you something about this platform. This is a platform where we connect with our esteemed experts and visionaries from all across the globe to explore thought-provoking topics that inspire growth, learning, and global understanding. Stay connected as we are going to dive into today's engaging discussion. So we have invited Madam Rachel Villar, so from Japan. So, Madam, very warm welcome to you in this session. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. So, hello everyone, and thank you very much for inviting me to this great opportunity to speak. So, it is truly a pleasure and an honor to be part of this meaningful discussion today. So, I really
Thank you
appreciate
very much.
this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Madam. So, Madam, please introduce yourself before our audience so that our audience may get to know about you, that who is Madam Rachel.
Okay, so first, my name is Rachel Villar, and I'm currently teaching English to Japanese learners in Japan. To be specific, a junior high school in a public school here in Japan. So I have experience teaching students of different ages in both traditional classroom settings and online learning environments. Yes.
That's great. So, as she has introduced herself before our audience, that she is teaching at public school. So that's and she is teaching English particularly in Japan. So, in this regard, I would like to introduce the topic of the day that on which we are going to have a discussion. So, our topic is from classroom to screen, teaching English to Japanese learners in modern settings. This is our topic on which today we're going to have a discussion. The very first question I'm going to ask over here, that what are the key differences between teaching English in classroom and online to Japanese learners? What do you say about it?
Okay, so one of the key differences between classroom teaching and online teaching is the way interaction happens. So I am also an online English teacher before for about 4 years and now 3 years in Japan. So in a physical classroom, it is easier to build energy, observe body language, move around the room, and encourage spontaneous participation. Students can also learn from each other more naturally through pair work, group work, and classroom routines. On the other hand, online teaching requires more intentional planning to keep students focused and involved. Since there is physical distance, the teacher needs to rely more on voice, visuals, screen sharing, digital materials, and clear instructions. So, for Japanese learners in particular, this difference is important because many students are already shy about speaking English. So, in the classroom, they may feel more supported by the group atmosphere, while online, they may feel either more relaxed or sometimes more hesitant, depending on their personality. So, in my experience, classroom teaching allows more natural interaction, while online teaching requires more structure,
Yes.
creativity, and like active engagement strategies.
Yes, definitely, and especially when you are going to teach online, so that time you will well equipped. You must have a proper stable internet. You will be having a proper notes on which you are going to share with the audience, with the students. So whether your students are following the instruction that is given by you, so that time, so that in which you become more careful and more vigilant. Yes.
Right, I agree.
Okay, the next question I would like to ask over here, being an ESL expert, that what challenges do Japanese students usually face when learning English, and how do you address them? Definitely there are challenges whether you are teaching Japanese English, in Japanese language, whether you're teaching Urdu language, any language. So there's some challenges. So my question is to you, that how would you cope up those challenges when you are going to teach English to the Japanese students?
Okay, so one of the most common challenges Japanese students face is the fear of making mistakes. So many learners worry about saying something wrong, especially when speaking in front of others. So because of these, they may stay quiet even if they know the answer. Another challenge is that some students are more familiar with grammar and reading than with actual spoken communication. So they may understand English in theory, but they are not always confident using it in real conversations. So, pronunciations and listening can also be difficult because English sounds and sentence rhythm are quite different from Japanese. So, to address these challenges, I focus on creating a supportive and low pressure learning environment. I praise effort, not only accuracy, and I encourage students to see mistakes as a part of learning. I
Mhm.
also use repetition, guided speaking practice, role plays, and simple question and answer activities to help students become more comfortable using English actively. So, little by little, when students feel safe and successful, their confidence begins to grow.
Definitely. And whether you are teaching in Japan, whether you're teaching anywhere in the country and any country, so if you're teaching English, so definitely you will be applying the same technique as Madam Rachel is applying. Meanwhile, when she is teaching to her students, so that is particularly very good enough. I guess that the method that you're applying it is really acceptable all across the globe, I guess, and should be, and the way it is very much approachable and acceptable for the students. Yes, the next question I would like to ask that which teaching techniques work best to build confidence in speaking among Japanese learners. In this regard, teaching methodology and teaching techniques matters really, really, very become very effective when you are going to teach. If you don't have proper techniques, you can't teach well. So, in this regard, my question is to you that what are the techniques that you apply when you teach English to the Japanese students?
Okay, so in my experience, the best techniques for building speaking confidence are the ones that reduce fear and increase comfort. So, one effective technique is pair work because students often feel less nervous speaking to one classmate than speaking in front of the whole class. So, another useful technique is guided conversation practice where students are given simple sentence patterns and or question prompts. So this helps them speak without feeling overwhelmed. I
Mm-hmm.
also use repetition and shadowing. So especially for pronunciation and fluency, when students hear and repeat natural English expressions several times, they begin to feel more familiar and confident with the language. Role plays are also very effective because they allow students to practice real life communication in a fun and meaningful way. So, most importantly, I try to create an atmosphere where students feel encouraged rather than judged. So,
Mm-hmm.
confidence grows when students feel that speaking is safe, achievable, and even enjoyable.
So, what is Chiabol in this regard? I don't understand that one. So, would you please describe that one, that term
Oh,
that you have? Yes.
achievable.
Okay, 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 okay. Just
Achievable.
okay, okay. It was a bit, difficult to get it out. So that why. Okay, just I thought that you might have used some terms in this way. I just asked. Okay,
I see.
okay. So there are variation in accent. Definitely, it is seen visible in different countries. So that's why.
Mm.
Okay, I mean, my next question is to you that how do you keep students engaged in interactive in online classes? Because as we just talking about that, how you can become effective teacher when you're going to
Mm.
teach online classes. So that time, my question is to you that how do you keep students engaged and interactive in online classes? Because You won't be able to to get interacted all the time to them, whether they are following you or not. Sometimes they are over there, but unfortunately they are doing something different, other things. So whether they are active that moment in the class or not. So that time, when we teacher, we people in Pakistan, when we used to teach to our students online classes, so that time there is that is not always 100% deliverance,
Mm.
that is not always 100% acceptance for the students. So that in this regard, my question is to you that how do you make the things effective when you're going to teach online classes for the Japanese students?
Okay, keeping students engaged online requires more active planning because attention can easily drop in virtual setting, as you were saying a while
Yeah,
ago. So
yeah.
I try to keep my online classes interactive by using a variety of activities instead of relying only on explanation. For example, I use conversation questions, short speaking tasks, visual prompts, role plays, and games when appropriate. So I also make sure to ask students questions regularly instead of speaking for too long without interactions. So these help keep them mentally present and involved in the lesson. Another important strategy is to make the lesson personal and relevant, of course. So, when students can talk about their own life, their opinions, their routines, interests, or experiences, they become more engaged and willing to participate. I also believe that energy matters online. The teacher's voice, facial expression, pacing, and encouragement all play a big role in keeping the class lively and comfortable. So, in short, like online classes become successful when students are not just watching, but actively using English throughout the lesson.
That's great. That's a great. My question is to you that what practical advice would you give to the Japanese to the teachers who are teaching English to the Japanese students, because there are a lot of teachers who in your country as well who are also watching this session. So what would you suggest to them?
Okay, so my first advice would be patient and don't mistake quietness for lack of interest or ability. Many Japanese students are thoughtful and careful learners, so they may not speak immediately, but that does not mean they are not learning. Second, I would say focus on building trust and confidence first. When
Mhm,
students feel safe, respected, and encouraged, they are much more willing to participate.
mhm,
Third, try to make your lessons practical and realistic. Students
mhm,
often respond well when they can see how English connects to daily life, travel, communication, or future opportunities. I
mhm,
would also recommend using clear instructions, consistent routines, visual support, and lots of encouragement. And
mhm,
finally, remember that progress may be gradual. Sometimes, even a small answer, a short sentence, or a student speaking a little more than before is already a big success. So, teaching Japanese learners can be very rewarding because once they gain confidence, they often become very sincere, hardworking, and motivated students.
That's great. It is whether it is a myth or not. So it is considered that Japanese people focus on their own language instead of any other language. How much it is truthful? So what would you say to them?
Yes, first, they focus more on building really their confidence before speaking it because they are really scared in making mistakes. So,
Mhm,
as long as you already build the confidence between you and the student, it's become smooth.
Mhm. Hello. Okay, yeah, I guess that was stuck somewhere. So at the last, what the message you would like to give to the ESL learners? What the message you would like to give to the students? What they should need to adopt to learn English language more effectively, and what are the practical strategies or some practical advices that you would like to give to the young learners who are trying to learn English language?
For the young learners that trying to learn English, is my most practical advice is enjoy. Just enjoy learning, because every day is a learning day. So don't make it hard to yourself. Just enjoy every step of the way. Even it is small or big, it is a step, still a step. It's a baby step to all step. So just enjoy.
Okay, thank you very much, madam, for your valuable input over here that you have given, and I hope so that the insightful that you have added over here in this session. So definitely, it can be very much fruitful for the young educators who are watching this live session, whether you're on your end or whether on my end. So definitely, it would work, especially with the young learners, young teachers who are teaching English in the other countries as well. So this is our series of sessions that have been conducting for the last 3 years. So there are different educationists from the different countries. So they are sharing their insight out that how do they teach English, particularly in English subject, English language into the other countries. So in this way, they learn a lot of. I personally got learn a lot of things from them as well when they are sharing their stuff, that how they can teach more effectively. So thank you very much, Madam Rachel, for your valuable insight out that you have added over here in this live discussion. So thank you very much for your time.
Yes, thank you very much once again for inviting me, Professor, to be part of this very valuable discussion. So it has been a very meaningful and valuable experience for me to share and exchange ideas with fellow educator.
Yes, definitely, and thank you very much. And your voice would be echoing all across, and hope so that the people would watch and would love to listen you as well. So hope so that our young educationists would watch and they would learn a lot of things from our discussion. So thank you very much, dear viewers. We will be having a discussion. We will be having a next session with the next, such an educationist who would be just like as a glittering star, who is a young educationist who would be sharing her insight out. So see you till then. Goodbye from my side. So see you next. Goodbye. Stay blessed.